Last night's episode of The View witnessed an explosive confrontation when Ricky Gervais demanded "say that again" after Whoopi Goldberg accused him of using atheism as an excuse for moral bankruptcy and suggested his comedy was a spiritually empty cynicism. The British comedian didn't just defend his worldview. He delivered a surgical dissection of Whoopi's selective morality that left her exposed as someone who preaches values she doesn't practice. But what started as promotion for Gervais's new special exploring death and meaning would reveal something darker about how The View uses faith as a weapon against those who challenge their comfortable hypocrisies. The ABC studios were thick with tension from the moment Gervais arrived. The 63-year-old comedian was there to discuss his new special examining mortality without religion, but Whoopi had prepared something entirely different. A production assistant later revealed that Whoopi had specifically instructed them to expose his godlessness and show how empty atheists really are. The warm-up coordinator had been priming the audience with comments about comedians who mock faith because they have none and the spiritual poverty of cynicism. Multiple staffers expressed concern about attacking someone's beliefs or lack thereof, with one senior producer reportedly warning, "He's going to destroy her if she goes there," only to be overruled by Whoopi personally saying, "Someone needs to put these godless comedians in their place." Therefore, when the cameras rolled, Gervais was walking into a religious inquisition disguised as daytime television. The show opened with typical hot topics, but Whoopi made several pointed comments about entertainers who fill their spiritual void with mockery and the emptiness of life without faith. Gervais waited backstage, his characteristic smirk in place while closely watching the monitor. His manager would later reveal that Gervais had actually researched Whoopi's history of controversial statements, telling his team, "If she wants to talk morality, I've got receipts." When Whoopi finally announced, "Please welcome Ricky Gervais," he walked out with deliberate casualness, his entire demeanor suggesting someone who'd already won an argument that hadn't started yet. "Ricky, welcome to The View," Whoopi began with false warmth. Another special mocking people who believe in something greater than themselves. The attack was immediate. Gervais chuckled. "I mock ideas, not people. But please, lecture me about morality. This should be rich," he said, settling into his chair. "You atheists think you're so enlightened, but you're just empty inside. No faith, no meaning, just cynicism," Whoopi said, leaning forward aggressively. "Empty? I've raised millions for charity. I've saved hundreds of animals. I've helped more people than your prayers ever have. But sure, I'm empty because I don't believe in your invisible friend," Gervais replied calmly. "That's blasphemous," Whoopi said, playing to her religious audience members. "Say that again," Gervais said suddenly, his voice dropping an octave. "I said it's blasphemous," Whoopi repeated. "No, say the part about me being morally empty. Say it again while remembering you defended Roman Polanski. Go on, moral authority, tell me about my emptiness," Gervais challenged. Therefore, the counterattack was immediate and brutal. The studio went silent. Whoopi's face changed from righteous to defensive. "That has nothing to do with," she started. "It has everything to do with this. You're questioning my morality because I don't believe in God, while you defended a man who drugged and raped a child. Which one of us has the moral problem?" Gervais asked. He stood up, his movement sharp. "You hide behind faith while defending the indefensible. You invoke God while excusing evil. That's not faith. That's hypocrisy wearing a cross," he said. "You don't understand forgiveness," Whoopi said desperately. "Forgiveness? You didn't forgive Polanski. You said what he did wasn't rape. That's not forgiveness. That's denial. And you dare question my morality?" Gervais pressed. But then he revealed something devastating. "You know what your former spiritual advisor told me? That you only invoke God when it's convenient. That you use faith as a shield for your own failings. Want to discuss that spiritual emptiness?" he said. Whoopi's face went pale. "That's a lie," she said weakly. "Is it? Should we call them? They're watching right now. They have stories about your selective Christianity that would destroy your moral authority forever," Gervais threatened. He turned to the audience, and this is where something important happens. "Look, There are people watching who've been told they're immoral because they don't believe in God, who've been judged as empty because they find meaning without religion. You're not empty. You're not immoral. Share this moment if you've faced religious discrimination. Comment your support for others who find morality without mythology. Like this video to spread the message that goodness doesn't require God. Your engagement might help someone else who's been condemned for thinking freely, he said directly to the camera. The audience response was divided but powerful. Many applauded, while others sat uncomfortably. But Whoopi, cornered and desperate, made things worse. At least I believe in something. You believe in nothing, she said accusingly. Gervais laughed genuinely. I believe in kindness, evidence, and truth. You believe in a God that apparently told you child rape wasn't that bad. Which belief system seems more moral? He asked. Don't you dare use God, Whoopi began. You use God. You use him to justify your prejudices, excuse your mistakes, and attack those who don't share your delusions. That's not faith. That's weaponized mythology, Gervais interrupted. He moved closer to her position. You want to know what really bothers you about atheists? We prove you don't need God to be good. We show that morality exists without mythology. We demonstrate that your faith isn't necessary for ethics. And that terrifies you, he said. You're going to hell, Whoopi said, losing all composure. According to your belief, so is everyone who doesn't believe exactly what you believe. Billions of good people condemned to eternal torture by your loving God. And you worship that? Who's really morally empty? Gervais asked. The philosophical trap was perfect. Whoopi couldn't defend eternal damnation without seeming cruel. But she made her fatal error. Security, remove this godless man, she said, her voice shaking. The audience erupted. Having security remove someone for being atheist was catastrophic. Many booed loudly. Others walked out immediately. Perfect. You're having me removed for not believing in your God. The Crusades would be proud, Gervais said, laughing. Two security guards approached but seemed deeply reluctant. One whispered, I'm atheist too, Mr. Gervais. Gervais smiled. See? Good without God. Imagine that, he said loudly. He looked at Whoopi one last time. You know what's really sad? You use faith to feel superior while defending child rapists. I use reason to help others while condemning child rapists. But I'm the immoral one. Your God must be so proud, he said. Get out. Whoopi screamed. I'm going. But remember this moment. You had security remove someone for not sharing your religious beliefs. On American television. In 2025, you've become everything the founding fathers fled from, Gervais said. He walked toward the exit, then turned back. Oh, and Whoopi, your God, if he exists, watched that 13-year-old get raped and did nothing. Then watched you defend the rapist. Either he doesn't exist, or he's as morally bankrupt as you are, he said. He left to mixed but significant applause. Many stood in support. Others sat in shocked silence. The show went to immediate commercial. Within minutes, #Gervais exposes Whoopi was trending globally. The clip contrasting her religious moralizing with her Polanski defense went viral instantly. Atheist organizations praised Gervais for standing up to religious bullying. But the real impact came from people who'd been condemned for their lack of belief. Gervais had articulated what millions felt, that morality didn't require mythology, that goodness didn't need God, that atheists weren't empty but free. The View returned without Whoopi. Joy awkwardly explained she was taking a moment for prayer. The audience laughed at the irony. The next day brought severe consequences. Religious freedom organizations, ironically, condemned The View for religious discrimination. Sponsors withdrew, not wanting to be associated with religious persecution. ABC faced another massive crisis. Gervais tweeted simply, removed from The View for not believing in God. In 2025, in America, the Taliban would be proud. The tweet exploded with millions of interactions. It sparked a national conversation about religious discrimination against non-believers, a rarely discussed form of prejudice. Whoopi attempted damage control the next day, claiming Gervais had attacked her faith. But the footage showed clearly that she'd attacked his lack of faith first. The evidence was undeniable. The incident became known as the Gervais Revelation, exposing how religious privilege operated in supposedly secular spaces. It showed how faith was used as a cudgel against those who thought differently. Years later, Whoopi would never fully recover her moral authority. How could someone who invoked God while defending child rape claim spiritual superiority? The contradiction was permanent. But that night, all anyone saw was Ricky Gervais refusing to be condemned for thinking freely, refusing to accept that faith meant morality, refusing to let religious bullying go unchallenged. He'd walked off the show, but he'd walked away victorious. Not through cruelty, but through logic. Not through blasphemy, but through truth. He'd shown that invoking God while defending evil was infinitely worse than denying God while doing good. The empty chair he left represented every atheist told they were immoral, every agnostic condemned as empty, every free thinker persecuted for thinking freely. And Whoopi Goldberg, who tried to claim moral superiority through faith, was exposed as someone who'd use God to defend a child rapist while condemning those who simply didn't believe. The difference was absolute. Gervais continued helping others without mythology. Whoopi continued hiding behind faith while defending the indefensible. One had been removed for atheism. The other had been exposed as everything faith supposedly stood against. Everyone watching understood which position was truly moral. The godless comedian had shown more ethics than the faithful defender of child rape. And that truth was more devastating than any joke Gervais could have told.